Right, are we live now? All right, excellent. There we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another No Code North event here in our Gather space today. No Code North is an inclusive community of Canadian web flowers and no code enthusiasts who are on a mission to network support and learn with our peers. We hold weekly events here in Gather and our Northern Showcase, which is actually coming up next week. We'll tell you more about that later on. And this today, I'm going to hand things over to Jeremy, and he is going to look after introducing our guest, and then we'll take it on the road. There we go. Thanks, Jeremy.
Awesome.
It's all yours.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much, Sepy Bazzazi, for joining us. And he is the Glide's head of social media and growth. And he's going to teach us the best practices for growing our agency or freelance business on LinkedIn and just social media tips in general. So he's a 16-year veteran of social media marketing, so he's got lots that he can teach us. So we're really excited to have you. So thank you so much for joining us, Sepy, and we'll just let you take it over.
Awesome. Thank you for the great introduction, Jeremy. Hey, everybody. My name's Sepy. Like Jeremy said, I run social media and growth at Glide. If you don't know Glide, Glide's a no-code development platform for businesses. Today, I want to talk about LinkedIn. As a freelancer, LinkedIn is a great way to grow your business, to grow your pipeline and get leads, essentially. And that's what we're all trying to do in the freelance and agency business, is get new clients and do more work with them. So I'm going to share my screen. I put together a bit of a presentation, and we'll jump into that deck. I'm not sure if everyone can see. All good? Perfect. Okay, thumbs up. I see thumbs up. So we're going to grow your business on LinkedIn. I originally put this presentation together for our Glide experts, who are basically freelancers or agencies building Glide apps for clients. And I took a look through this entire presentation to see how I could adjust it to be more specific to just a general kind of freelancer, but really it was already. And so I'll speak to kind of the general freelance population with this presentation and talk to you about how to grow your business, how to grow your pipeline, how to engage and network on LinkedIn, because that's really what it is. It's a networking platform for business professionals. It's not like Instagram. It's not like Facebook. It's very different. Why you should pay attention to me. So I'm not an influencer. I'm not focused on growing my own brand, although I do try to grow my own brand a little bit. I've got 3,000 followers, very modest. In the industry, we call me a nano influencer. I'm not even a micro influencer. So there's that. But where I've really focused is growing other brands. And so I've worked with numerous brands on their social media presences. I used to own a social media agency back in kind of like the beginnings, the stone age of social media, as I call it, when you used to become a fan of Facebook pages and you didn't like them, and you used to send texts to tweets, believe it or not. I don't know if you remember that or not, but I was on social media since back then, learning how to market businesses and build engagement and show kind of authenticity and transparency through social media since then. In the last few years, I've really focused hard on LinkedIn and experimented a lot and tried a lot from my own personal profile and from Glide's brand profile and other brand profiles I've worked with. I've also kind of put together a creators program at Glide, where I bring our Glide experts in and give them tools and resources and presentations and advice and audit their posts and help them make video. And that's been a great learning tool for me as well. So I've got a lot of this information floating around in my head about what works for freelancers and agencies to grow their pipeline, grow their business, build meaningful contacts that might not pay off today, but will pay off later, and really just find success through LinkedIn. So I want to share some of that today. So quick look at chapters. We're going to talk about profile optimization first. It all starts with your profile. That's where people are going to go to after they see your content or see your comment or something like that, or you connect with them and send a connection request. They're going to head to your profile. You want to make sure it's optimized. Next, we're going to talk about content creation. So what type of content to create, who to create it for. It's really important to ask yourself some questions and set up your content pillars. So we're going to look at all that. The algorithm on LinkedIn is unique from the other algorithms, and there's some best practices on there to make sure that you're leveraging the algorithm to your best interests. And there's just tips and tricks there, things that you need to be really careful of and things that you should be doing every single time you're posting. So we'll talk about that. And then my favorite section is the engagement and outreach piece. I feel like if you're going to sleep through any of this presentation, don't sleep through part 4 when we talk about engagement and outreach. It's the most important piece. And then I'll just do a quick touch on the Glide Experts program, just because I believe in it. And, I might be preaching to the choir here. You might already know about the Glide Experts program, but I got to touch on it anyway. And then we'll do a Q&A. That being said, if there's any burning questions that pop up while I'm talking, I asked Jeremy to kind of interrupt me and keep monitoring the chat. And if it's pertinent to what's going on in the moment and it's timely, just chime in and ask me that question and I'll answer it on the spot. So we can have a bit of a dialogue and it doesn't just have to be me talking at you. So with that said, let's talk about step 1, making your profile shine with some profile optimization tips. So there's a couple of things that are like really important on your profile. Above the fold, it's always important, whether it's your website or your LinkedIn profile, it doesn't matter. You want to make sure above the fold looks great. You want to have a beautiful banner. You want to have, and as a freelancer, you should probably design something that speaks to your brand, talks about your mission, shows your certifications potentially as little badges. If you're working specifically with Webflow, you might want to have a Webflow partner banner if they have something like that. I'm not sure. Like we build these ones for Glide experts to use, and then they add their like Glide certification level. So this is really important. You want a nice profile picture. Some people are doing AI stuff. That's kind of cool. But just don't use something that's like really, really old. Use something, up to date, showing what you look like today. If someone were to hop on a Zoom call with you, they should see the real, authentic you, not, in this profile picture. What else do I have? Your headline. This headline here under your name, very, very important. It's kind of like your tagline on LinkedIn. So usually what people do is put their kind of title first, and then kind of a little bit about themselves. I see some people going really long with these. I wouldn't recommend, like, people aren't going to read a 3-liner, and then it makes your profile really, really busy too. 1 line is great. If you can get across in as few words as possible what you do or why you do it, who you specifically work with, or anything else that makes you kind of unique. If you can do something a little funny in there or interesting, like my profile said up until yesterday when I changed it, it said, please donate, likes, and comments. And it was just something fun and attention grabbing. And I would notice that people would come and comment on my posts and be like donating a comment. And so it was working, like people were noticing it. So people do pay attention to this headline. So make it something relevant to your business. At first glance, I should know exactly what you do and who you do it for when I get here. Creator mode. This is important. So if you go to your LinkedIn profile and you don't see followers, all you see is connections, scroll down a tiny bit and there's going to be a button that says turn on creator mode. You want to turn on creator mode. It's going to give you analytics on your posts and it's going to give you other tools that help you create content. And it's also going to showcase your followers on your page, and it's going to kind of make you a voice on LinkedIn, and it turns you into a creator on LinkedIn that someone, when they land on your profile, they'd see you're like a prominent person in this space, whether you're talking Webflow, Zapier, Glide, whatever. Being a creator kind of uplifts your brand. Jumping down to the bio, this is also very important. If you've hooked people above the fold and they care about you enough to scroll down and learn a little bit more, this bio is where you want to hook them. So I borrowed this from my pal Andy, who you all know, Andy from Glide. He has a great bio here. He talks a lot about what he does, his purpose, prior to Glide, what he was doing, his early career, and then a little something personal about himself. He's a geek dad, a casual gamer, a doodler. These are all great things that help build connection with people. So definitely do like an optimized bio here. Also showcase your skills. All these options are available right on your profile. So as you scroll down, you'll be able to optimize. Add the skills, if it's web design, if it's no code development, if it's automation, if it's customer service, whatever it is that are your top skills that set you apart from your competition, highlight that here. And then you've got your featured posts. So if you're just starting out on LinkedIn and you don't have a lot of posts, you might not have anything to pin here, but a great thing to pin would be something like, hey, I'd like to reintroduce myself to LinkedIn. Here's a little bit about me, what I do, who I do it for, and here's some like personal information. Those kinds of posts are great. You can publish one of those and feature it. And then as you start building more content, you'll see like which one of your posts gets the most traction, resonates the best, and then you want to pin those. So Andy's done a good job of pinning some of his most successful posts here on his profile. As you scroll down the page, I don't have screenshots for these, but another one that's important is your experience section. So what your role is. If you're the founder of an agency, you want to make sure that's added as a company to LinkedIn and it's showing up on your experience. Collecting testimonials on LinkedIn is also a fantastic idea. It keeps everything there on your LinkedIn, and then you can copy paste those to your website or whatever. So if you're working with clients, invite them to come to your LinkedIn profile and share a testimonial for you there. There's like a section right at the bottom of your LinkedIn profile where people can go and it's called recommend. They can recommend you. So collect your recommendations there. It's up to you if you're doing this on Google instead or whatever your strategy is, that's fine. But if you don't have a place, like a central place that you're collecting reviews and you're doing it just through email and posting it on your website, do it through LinkedIn instead, because that's a great booster on your profile, and it creates a post essentially when people do that as well. Oops. All right, let's jump to content creation. So that was profile optimization. Go to your profile, take a look at it, see what stinks about it, see what's shining, and make it shine even more. Once you've done that and you want to start building some content, the first thing to ask yourself is like, who's my target audience? Okay, so you want to get really specific here. Who are they? What do they care about? Are they small businesses? Are you going after enterprises? Have you not defined that yet? Then you probably should. Are you willing to work with just about anybody? That's great. But maybe your message on LinkedIn should be specific to a certain customer. Maybe it'll be easier to get small to medium-sized businesses through LinkedIn with your messaging and what you want to talk about versus enterprise clients. Or maybe you want to focus entirely on enterprise. Just know who they are. Maybe it's SaaS companies, get really, really granular here. Maybe it's local businesses in Canada or, whatever your niche is, that better than I do. Figure that out, figure out who it is at those businesses you're talking to. Are they the founder? Are they the marketing professional or the marketing head? Are they operations? Are they trying to automate things and you're trying to work with the ops team? Figure out these people and like what they care about, what would resonate with them, what are their pain points, what are they looking for when they're coming to LinkedIn and they're scrolling LinkedIn. What kind of content do they stop and do they engage with? So one thing you can do is maybe like find a few people that would be in your target audience and go check out their profile and see what their activity is, see what they're commenting on, see what they care about on LinkedIn. And that'll give you an idea of like the kind of content that you can produce to stand out to these folks. And when are they online or most active? LinkedIn's great for this because they're people who are like into LinkedIn are on there all the time. If you were lucky enough to be working like targeting social media marketers, for example, you can anytime window is fine because they're always on LinkedIn. If you're targeting specific professionals, sometimes they check their LinkedIn at like 10 a.m. or at 8 a.m. and then again at like 1 p.m. or something like that. And then after work, they do a quick check. So it's good to find out when these people are engaging. The only way you can do this is by experimenting, basically. So you just try posting content at different times, see what works. I've learned that from Glide's profile, because we're like a global company with a big following around the world, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time seems to work really well. It hits all the different time zones and we get a lot of engagement kind of throughout the day. On my own profile, 6 a.m. does not work. Around 9 a.m. is good for my personal profile. If I post at like 3 p.m., I usually get crickets. And so you just kind of got to test these things out. My audience is mostly like sales and marketing people. This is a really important step. If you're just like throwing content out into the ether and you're not really aware or thinking about why you're producing this content, who you're producing it for, who you're trying to attract, or what they care about, what kind of content you should build for them, your content's generally going to be kind of all over the place and it might flop. And so this is a good kind of starting point for you. I just want to remind folks, if you have any questions or anything, please drop them into the chat and they can come up during the call, or I have a dedicated time at the end for questions as well. Next, what's your value proposition? So your business, is it that you build websites faster than anybody else? Is it that you build the most beautiful websites? Is it that you are a certified Glide expert or Webflow expert? What is it that is your value proposition? Is it that you're just like a really fun, friendly person with a great personality? You know, you need to figure out what it is about your brand that makes people really enjoy working with you. So you can ask your existing customers if you're not sure what it is, if you haven't dialed that in. The how you can help is relatively easy to figure out. Like there's certain things you do, there's certain services you provide, right? But the why you, that's the trickier part, right? Why should people work with you? Why are you the one instead of, you know, someone else who does exactly the same service that you do at the exact same price? Why should they choose you? This is a very difficult question to answer, but talk to your clients and figure that out, and try and find ways to communicate that. Once you do figure it out, try and find ways to communicate that value proposition through LinkedIn, either subtly or directly, but doing so can really differentiate you and really kind of build an emotional connection with people on LinkedIn as well. And that this is what's going to help you resonate, right, with your target audience. So once you figured out your target audience and your value proposition, now you can marry these two things. Okay, where's this? Do the Venn diagram, right? Like, this is why I'm great at this and why they should hire me. This is who should hire me. What's that spot in the middle where you two kind of come together and build content that speaks to that and resonate to those people with your message? Not everybody is going to do business with everybody, right? There is that sweet spot. When you figure that out and you figure out how to build a repeatable process to communicate with those people in a way that resonates with them, to attract the right people to you that resonates with you, is golden, okay? And this is true of not just LinkedIn as well. I'll say that. This is true of any kind of business channel, marketing channel, right? You want to build that repeatable process. You want to find your USP, your unique value proposition, and you want to find your target audience, and you want to marry those two. Content pillars. So this is really important, and it's something that really, really helps you focus your efforts when you're building content for LinkedIn. So if you don't know your content pillars and you can't name them, like if you can't so a content pillar is essentially a category. Let's call it a category of content that you produce for your LinkedIn. If that's very ambiguous to you, it's going to be really hard to come up with content on a daily or weekly basis. Or if you want to go even more, like I would recommend, if you can, posting a couple times a day, 3 or 4 days a week will really help you get traction. Without a content pillar or defined content pillars, it's going to be really tough to do that. So content pillars are different for everybody, right? So one of Glide's content pillars, for example, is AI and no code. Okay, so we want to talk about all things AI and no code related, and we can talk about that in a lot of different ways. Another one is our culture. Okay, we want to talk about Glide culture, and we can talk about that in a lot of different ways. We can show team photos, we can, highlight our experts and give them love and shout outs, and we can talk about remote work, and there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. And so you want to define these content pillars. And when you're doing that, you want to try and break it out into 40, 40, 20. 40% of them should be this kind of educational, valuable, informative content that people are going to learn something from. Another 40% should be this like emotional, inspirational, cultural, funny, tugging on heartstrings, vulnerable, transparent, kind of real, raw content that's really going to resonate with people. That's another 40%. And then only 20% you want to go promotional sales kind of content and messaging. I always like this analogy of like, you go to a cocktail party, okay? And you go up to people and all you're doing is talking about how cool you are and how great you are and how much money you make and what a nice car you have and what a pretty girlfriend you have and all the fancy food you eat. Like, I'm already boring you just giving you that list right now, okay? Nobody wants to talk to that person. They want to talk to someone who's interesting, who asks them questions, right? Who engages with them. They learn something from, they grow through connecting with that person. They get energy from connecting with that person. That's not someone who's constantly selling themselves, right? Promoting yourself, talking about yourself is great, but you got to do it a little bit on LinkedIn if you want to find success. The other 80% there, the educational, informative, inspirational, emotional, that's what's going to build your brand up and build your engagement up. And so when you post that promotional sales message, people are paying attention now. If all you're posting is promotional sales stuff, people are going to stop paying attention to you very, very quickly. All right, so more on the content front. So there's different types of content. Let's get very literal and tactical here. When you're posting on LinkedIn, there's a few types of content that you can post. There's text, okay, which is fantastic. Writing a text post is excellent. It doesn't need to be paired with an image, okay? You only want to use an image in your post if it's relevant to the post, if there's a fit. I'm sure you've seen some of these like people who post a text post about, you know, why whatever is a great tool, but then it's just like a selfie of them posing. It's totally irrelevant. It does not contribute to anything, and they're just trying to hack the algorithm, and it doesn't work, okay? LinkedIn does not just give you value for posting a photo, and their algorithm doesn't just show your content more because there's a photo in it, okay? So posting text content is fantastic. It's most of the best content out there is to date, until video started picking up, is text content. Photos and graphics, infographics, memes, this kind of stuff is fantastic if there's a purpose. So definitely try and include photos, you know, show your work from home setup. That's a really easy kind of quick hack for getting some content out there quick. Like, here's what's going on. You know, this is what my work from home setup looks like. What does yours look like? That's a great photo post. Infographics are awesome. If you can do an infographic that shows some data or statistics about your industry or the work that you do, results that you get for your clients, or results that your clients see by building websites on Webflow or what have you. If you can build an infographic that shows something like that, it's very shareable as well. People like not only looking and engaging with that, but they like posting it to their own profiles. Polls are also great. Super good for engagement. It's really, the easier you make your poll, the better. You know, if you ask people like, what's your favorite day of the week? It's a very easy poll to answer. If you ask people like a very complicated question, like what's the hardest thing about building a Webflow website? I really got to think about that. It's going to take me a while. You've already lost me. I'm out of here. So ask really simple questions and do polls on the regular, and you're going to see a lot of engagement because people love to just click and share their opinion. Click and share their opinion. Sliders, these are my favorite, okay? Sliders are essentially PDF documents. So you have a document that's multiple pages. When you upload a document to LinkedIn, you can see the screenshot here. It uploads it as this slider. So I can actually click the arrow and slide. So this is page 1 of 11. This slider has 11 pages that I can swipe through. The beauty of these is that when LinkedIn's tracking your engagement, what they're one of the metrics they're looking at is clicks. Okay, so I have 11 slides on this. That invokes people to click this 10 times to get to the 11th slide. So those 10 clicks each count as engagement. Every time I've ever done a slider from Glide's page or my own profile, the engagement rate is like 50 to 80%, which is like, it's astronomical compared to regular engagement rates of like 5 to 11. You know, if you're doing really well, 20%. These things are major engagement hackers. So if you've got a document or if you've got some content that you could present, like you've written a blog post and it's like the 10 best tips for, you know, Webflow mastery or whatever, take those 10 tips and put each tip on a page in a PDF, and then upload that to your LinkedIn profile. And then that creates a slider that people need to click. Major engagement hack. So try and build repeatable processes around doing that. And it also gives you the opportunity to like repurpose your content. So taking a blog post and repurposing it as a LinkedIn slider, or taking a LinkedIn slider and repurposing it as a blog post or what have you. And then video. Video is the holy grail of LinkedIn right now. They're really investing in their video platform. They've got now, like similar to TikTok, almost rest in peace in the US. They've got this vertical sliding format on LinkedIn now, where it's all just business videos and like interesting kind of business related content. And so you can just swipe and swipe and swipe. And they're really, really giving, their algorithms really giving a lot of love to anybody publishing vertical video. So if you can, grab your cell phone, hop on a video, say some things. If you can edit it, great. If not, that's fine. Just upload it like that and share your thoughts instead of writing text, but in a vertical video. You'll find a lot of success doing that. It is very scary though. Going from 0 to 1 of like making video content is very scary and intimidating. But once you do it a few times, it gets easier. Okay, copywriting tips, and then we're going to get, I think, into algorithm best practices. So last thing on content, if you're writing, which is most of what people do on LinkedIn, make sure you're writing conversationally, okay? If you're writing something and you feel like you're writing a novel, it's time to rejig that in such a way that it's the same way that you're speaking. Like if you're having a conversation with someone, because that's the way people are reading it. They don't want to read stuffy novels on LinkedIn. They want to read really light stuff that they can digest quickly. So keep it conversational and write for humans. This is also great. This is a great tip for SEO as well. So writing for humans is really, really important. Don't try and game the system. Just write for people. The hook, super, super important. I'm going to mention the hook a couple times moving forward. The hook is the first sentence of your LinkedIn post, okay? You should keep it short and sweet. One thing that I can read that makes me go, okay, I care about this. I want to read the next thing. Or, oh, I'm curious. I want to find out more. I want to read the next thing. You really, really want to try. First thing you should do is like write your content and then look at your content and be like, how can I hook people to get them into this content? That first line is paramount of importance. If you lose them on the first line, they're not going to read the rest of it. Okay. Joseph Sugarman said, he's like famous copywriter. He said, the purpose of the first line of your copy is to get people to read the second line. The purpose of your second line of copy is to get people to read the third line. That's all you're trying to do. You're trying to convince people to read all the way through what you're saying and then give you a like or take an action, call you, right? So make sure that first sentence is strong enough that it's getting them to read the second one, and be critical of yourself. Remember the IDA format when you're writing: attention, interest, desire, action. I use this all the time, whether I'm writing blog posts, LinkedIn posts, or an email. Doesn't matter, okay? You want to capture their attention with that hook, okay? You want to build interest in what you're talking about with the next kind of sentence or paragraph or two. Get them desiring what it is you're selling, right? Whether it's an idea or or a package or whatever that you're selling, right? Your services, and then ask them to take an action. This action isn't always going to be, hey, pay me, right? Hey, become a client. Most of the time, the action is going to be like, leave a comment and let me know what you thought about that, or share a picture of your workstation in the comments, or tag a friend who needs to see this, or asking them a question to get them to engage with your post is way better than to ask them to like sign up for your services or whatever. If they need a web designer, if they need an automation expert, a no-code expert, they know you, right? Because they've been engaging with you. Ask for engagement. And then tell stories. People love stories, especially on LinkedIn. People love to hear how you failed. Okay. Everyone's failed in their careers or made mistakes, even not like major fails, right? People want to hear about that stuff. It is, I don't know why, but it's like crack to people on LinkedIn. They just love hearing about failures, and you get so much engagement. Every post that I've ever experimented where I'm like, I lost my temper this week, and that's the hook or whatever. People are like, ooh, tell me more, right? They want to know about these real human moments where we fail and mess up. So tell these stories, whether they're good stories or bad stories, learning lessons, whatever. You don't need to just talk about how you failed. That's just one example, but tell stories through your posts. And then include a call to action. I kind of mentioned that in the IDA step, but it doesn't need to be a link. As a matter of fact, you should never post a link in your LinkedIn posts, and I'll talk about that in the algorithm best practices. But ask for an action, right? When you end your post, it should always end with some sort of ask, whether it's to comment, whether it's to recommend someone, whether it's to tag someone, whether it's to answer a question, whatever, pay it forward, whatever it is, just end with an action. So there's something to do when they're done reading. All right, algorithm best practices, how to game the system of LinkedIn. So here's my top list, okay? You never post URLs in your posts. I just kind of mentioned this in the end of the last slide. So LinkedIn does not want people leaving LinkedIn, okay? It's just a fact. They want you to keep scrolling because ads show up as you scroll, and ads is how LinkedIn makes money. If you leave LinkedIn and you're paying attention to something else, you're no longer scrolling and you're no longer making them money through ad revenue, okay? LinkedIn is an ad platform. That's how they monetize. So remember this always. They don't send people away from LinkedIn. If you must, do it in your comments, okay? So what I always do is like, hey, register for our event. Link is in the comments. And then in the comment section, I'll post the link to the event. and from there they can go. We don't get a lot of clicks. Generally, you don't get a lot of click-throughs from LinkedIn. If you must post a link in your post, go for it. But it's just going to damage your engagement because LinkedIn kind of hides it. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Again, only posting text posts is totally fine. You don't need to add images if they don't fit. Vertical video is LinkedIn Gold. So again, vertical video, they're giving a lot of love to. Video in general is just really engaging type of content. So I would always do video where you can. What we found with our Glide experts is like when they do demos showing their expertise in Glide, it goes a long way. People love seeing the person. They love seeing the way they work in Glide, in the Glide ecosystem. So if you learn something cool or you're doing something cool in Webflow or any kind of tool that you're using, do a demo of it, like even just a Loom kind of thing. We use a tool called Screen Studio, which is fantastic for recording these kinds of demos. Makes it really easy to edit, even does like little zoom ins of parts where your like cursor is. So use Screen Studio, use Loom, whatever it is, like try and do some demo videos. And one thing I'll say also, just as a side note, things that you don't think are cool are cool. Okay. Things that you do on a daily basis in Webflow or Glide or whatever, people don't know about. Okay. So just test, like record a little 30-second, 1-minute clip and upload it. It could turn out to be your viral video, right? Tag people and brands in your posts. Okay. It shares your posts to the broader network, to everyone else's network. Okay. So if someone tags me in a post, people who follow me are going to see like Sepy was tagged in Bronca's post. Okay. Or Jeremy's post. And that all of a sudden expands your network. It grows your world on LinkedIn a little bit, and it'll grow your followers as well. But just don't tag too many, because LinkedIn then will notice that and will think that you're trying to game the system and it's not authentic. And so you don't want them catching you. So 10 is usually the maximum. I would keep it less than that even. Reply to every comment. If you get a comment, reply, and reply as quickly as you can. Okay. LinkedIn likes to see like comment, you know? And so if you get a comment on your post, please reply to it. Even if someone's just saying like, great job, and you want to just give a thumbs up emoji, it's still something. So just do that. Keywords are better than hashtags. So I see a lot of people using hashtags on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has hashtags, but it's not really that optimized for hashtags. Okay. The hashtag system in LinkedIn, frankly, is terrible. Okay. What LinkedIn does a really good job of is it's like a search engine in a way. And it actually, it picks up keywords. And so if you say things like Webflow expert or build a website or whatever, if people are searching for website builder, your post will show up because it is picking up those keywords, and it is indexing those keywords to serve up in search, and it will also show up on Google. So a lot of LinkedIn content shows up on Google. LinkedIn's like really an SEO beast. So make sure you're using the right keywords that you want to address for your target audience, for your unique selling proposition. Just make sure that you figured out all those questions and then use the right keywords so that your posts show up both on LinkedIn search, on Google search, etc. Again, failures, learnings, authenticity, and demos. So I kind of touched on all 4 of these already, but these are like just great algorithm hacks. People love this stuff. They love to hear failures. They love to hear things you've learned about. They love demos. They love videos and authenticity and vulnerability, right? Sometimes I refer to LinkedIn as the toxic positivity platform. And it is. It's like that. So like just being like super, bearing your soul and being like super positive and a little cringe, it's okay. It goes a long way. Cringe wins, honestly, especially on LinkedIn. So you could be against cringe. You could see stuff that's cringy and you don't like it, and that's okay. Try to embrace it a tiny bit just for the name of growing your business. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And then the hook, again, the hook is the most important thing. Hook them in the first 2 sentences. One thing I'll point out is like on LinkedIn posts, if you pay attention, you'll notice like you usually just see like the first and second sentence, and then there's a little click button to see more. Okay. You want to make those first sentences so good that people are like, I need to click more, right? I'm curious about this, right? There's mystery here, or there's like something I need to find out behind this, like kind of clickbaity, right? Without being clickbaity. hook them, right? Hook them, hook their interest, and they'll click that, and that will also help your engagement. All right. You've all been sleeping maybe up until this point, but it's time to wake up. This is my favorite part. Okay. Engagement and outreach. So if you can do only one thing on LinkedIn ever, just comment. Okay. Don't write posts. Don't publish any posts. Your goal is to network with people on LinkedIn and grow your business through LinkedIn. What people want is a dopamine hit from you. Okay. Go to their content and like their content and comment on it. And don't use an AI comment. Okay. Please don't use an AI comment. You can use AI to help you come up with ideas for your posts. Never use AI for commenting. Just be real. Just answer like a person to a post. And if you can't think of an answer, don't answer. Fine. Move on to the next one. But just be authentic. Leave comments. One thing that you might want to do is like build a list of people that are your like ideal clients, and just every day go check their profiles and comment on their profiles and engage with them repeatedly, right, until they get to know you, and then you build a connection, etc., etc. But commenting is the most powerful tool on LinkedIn, and it's one that people don't think about and they don't do. They're just thinking like, I have to post stuff. You don't have to post anything. Never post anything. Just comment. Okay. When people post stuff, it's because they want comments, right? It's because they want that positive reinforcement and that response. Be that positive reinforcement and be that response that they want, and they're going to love you for it. Okay. Add new people to your network. Follow people, like go to your networking tab. I think you can add like 90 people a day or something like that. Add people, right? Add people who are in your target audience, and it'll start showing up on LinkedIn that like, oh, these people connected, and people are going to start seeing your name more and more, and the people you're connecting with are going to start seeing you, right? If you can send them a little note with your connection, even better. Send conversational DMs, right? The DMs are not just for outreach. I know that I get a ton of outreach for like selling me stuff on LinkedIn DMs, and it's very frustrating. When I get like a genuine message on LinkedIn DMs, I get excited. Okay. And it's like, oh, someone's just like being nice. And those conversations have led me to demos and sales calls with those people. Okay. Because I'm like, oh, this was just a very natural conversation that flowed there. It didn't start with, hey, are you interested in this product or whatever? So just be conversational, start conversations and be like, hey, how's it going? Blah, 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 whatever you can come up with to spark a conversation. Treat LinkedIn as a networking event, as a conference that you're at, okay, to network with people. Final point, LinkedIn is for professional networking, so network, okay? Use it as a networking hub, as a networking tool. It's not Instagram, right? You don't need to share your food and every detail of your life. It's for networking, it's for business networking. So do that on there. Comment on people's posts, make connections, send videos, share your expertise. You're gonna have success on there, okay? LinkedIn is a very powerful tool to grow your business as a freelancer or an agency. One thing I'll say is like focus on your profile, don't set up a business or brand page. Brand pages get far less engagement than individual profiles, especially if you're a freelancer and people are going to be working directly with you. They want to see your face, not your logo. Okay. So you go out there, you connect with people. It is a massive go-to-market channel. Our Glide experts are killing it on LinkedIn. Honestly, they're having so much success getting multiple leads a week on LinkedIn just from engaging and being consistent. Really, that's kind of the thing. You got to make a commitment and be consistent, just like you do to your business, just like you do to Webflow, to Glide, etc. So just make that commitment to LinkedIn, and it will pay off for you. So with that said, just quick plug. If you folks, again, I might be preaching to the choir here because everyone here might already know about the Glide Experts program. I know you know Andy. I'm sure he's talked about it a lot, but it is amazing. And I know of like the Bold Bureau, who's part of No Code North. They are a Webflow agency who started off as a Webflow agency, adopted Glide, and they're building solutions on both of these that speak to each other. And it's just this beautiful, harmonious thing. The Glide Experts program is awesome. I run the Creators program, which is one of the perks of the Experts program. So if you join that, you can join the Creators program and we can work together to grow your LinkedIn even further. With that said, I've rambled quite a bit. I'm sorry if I've gone over time or anything like that. I didn't know how much time I had, but I hope this was helpful. And I'd love to hear if anybody has any questions.
No, that was fantastic. I think for me myself, I think I was just so riveted by the presentation that like none of the questions were coming up. So I think you're probably going to get them now.
Okay.
I guess I love the cringe wins.
Yeah.
That's what I'm taking away from this. I a question I was thinking about is like, what about paid LinkedIn? Is LinkedIn? Is there any advantage to paying for it, or can you just get so much value out of the free stuff that you can do with LinkedIn?
Do you mean like ads or like LinkedIn Premium?
I guess LinkedIn Premium, I guess, is what I'm
Mm,
talking about. I wouldn't know the first thing about trying to do ads, but yeah.
yeah. I think LinkedIn Premium, what like the one I find it quite pricey, to be honest with you. It's like a little bit pricey. And so if you're gonna use LinkedIn for outreach a lot, it's great because it really unlocks the ability for you to message lots of people who are not part of your network. That being said, like I honestly I think that building genuine connections with people through free LinkedIn and then like connecting with them, and then you can send them a DM anyway, right? LinkedIn Premium is great because then I can go and DM a bunch of people that I'm not connected to. Okay. And it's got other things like you can see who visited your profile and all this kind of stuff. So it's really your call. But like Eva, one of the Glide experts, she's not a LinkedIn Premium user and she's getting a ton of leads through LinkedIn. So it's not mandatory. Honestly, I would save your pennies and invest it elsewhere unless you're planning on doing like major outreach through LinkedIn, which I've never seen huge success on doing like something like that on mass. I would stick to I'm always a bigger believer in like the genuine, authentic connection.
Yeah, that's cool.
More
Thank you.
questions? Yeah, for sure.
I have a question. I used to do before my Webflow days. I actually used to do like social media management for like companies, and I would always struggle with trying to get the point across. And you mentioned it like towards the end too, where it's like it's a social media platform. Like in essence, it's a social media platform. So like the best way to actually make a connection with people is to actually be social on the network. And like, is there a way that I mean I can quantify that, like as opposed to just regurgitating the same articles that everybody else in the field posts? Like, how do I really like light a fire under them and be like, share some of your own knowledge, like actually be a part of this platform, like as much as I can. And that's why I stopped doing it as well, was because I felt like as much as I could like recommend on a plan of action and something to do, like it kind of defeats the purpose of like me posting for somebody else if I'm not like I don't have their knowledge, I don't have their expertise. I can't be
Mm.
like social to the same level as they can, right?
So were you like ghostwriting for people, or were you like, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
and you were
I would
managing
either.
people's profile?
Yeah, so I would do it on like Instagram, depending on the business, right? Like, so some business would want LinkedIn, some business would want Facebook,
Yeah.
Instagram, right? So like I would create content. I was doing a lot of like photography content at the time because it was for mostly like contractors. So I would do like photography. And the one client I actually had who was super successful, he was there commenting on every post, like you said, right? Like
Right.
he was actually being a part of the community that
Right.
we're trying to build. So yeah, it was like a mix of like ghostwriting, like content they would provide to like fill out a schedule. But I feel like I always had trouble
Yeah.
getting the point across that like it is a social platform, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know how I could have really incentivized it more than that, but
This is just like a regular challenge for social media managers, is getting that buy-in from, people want to be on social media, but they don't actually want to do social media the right way. And that's just a problem. It's not your fault. It comes from the organization. And if they see the value of it, they will start doing it. And so at Glide, when I started, David, our CEO, was like not on social at all, right? And he would send some tweets here and there, and people loved his tweets when he would share like a screenshot of Glide or whatever. Getting him to get on LinkedIn was like an uphill battle. It remains an uphill battle. Okay. Getting him to reply to his comments, I literally have to ping him in Slack and be like, "Hey, you've got 10 comments on your post. Like, can you go and reply to those?" Like, it's a fight.
yeah.
And the only way to fight the fight is to fight the fight and fight it for a long time consistently. It's the only way, honestly, that I've found that it works.
All right.
Now I see David making his own demos, and like he'll post it and then he'll share in Slack like, oh, I shared this on LinkedIn and I've got like hearts in my eyes because I'm like, oh my God, he's finally doing the thing that I've been trying to get him to do for a year and a half. And he's replying to some of the comments and whatnot himself. The other side of that is like, you just get the keys and you just do it. And you're like, hey guys, this is what you need to be successful. Give me the keys to your profile. Like I've got David's password for his LinkedIn. So I have permission from him to go in and do some things and post some stuff and do it myself. So get the keys and be like, let me do this for a month and I'll show you how it can work. And then maybe they'll buy in. So yeah, it's a challenge for sure. Yeah.
Interesting follow-up question that you brought up too. So do you think the rise of like the tech CEO on social is like, has that been like a game changer recently? Like I always see like, you know, like you said, you know, David with Glide. I mean, I see like people from Vercel and DHH and HashiCorp and like, has that been kind of like a game changer in terms of strategy for building reputation for businesses, you think?
100%. I think one of the best things that brands can do, like if I were giving this talk to a company that had like 50 plus employees or whatever, I would be saying, get your team mobilized on LinkedIn. And so, you know, we've got Branka, who's our VP of marketing, Jack, who does our videos, Andy, who does community and events, Brett, who does our experts program, Kate, who does our education. I'm trying to mobilize all these people. And it's hard. Sometimes they go through their dips, but this, I mean, having the CEO do it is phenomenal. And that's definitely a flex of its own. Vercel does a great job of that. Vercel's Twitter, like just basically retweets their CEO. And that's like fantastic, right? But like getting your team mobilized, that's definitely a movement right now. And people, like the reason is people don't just want to connect with your brand anymore. Our brand page doesn't get the level of engagement that I'd like. Our people posts do. And when I'm posting a comment on one of Glide's posts and like people see like social media manager at Glide, they're like, oh, I know a secret about this company, right? Like I've got the inner track, like I'm going to follow this guy and like I follow Glide's social media guy. I know when a comment is replied, that's Sepy, you know, there's this like relationship, a deeper relationship that gets formed with the brand. And so I think that's why it's important. I think that's the why behind doing it. And I think that's why it's not going to stop. Yeah. It's a good question.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So do you post it from your company? Is it a company page? The NoCo North brand page? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And the workshop being an event, like an event link?
No, they're
I was going to say, like, if you, here, I'm just going to share my screen again and I'll share my, let's go to this page. Sorry.
That actually ties into the question I had, because when he was saying that about links, I was like, oh yeah, right. I kind of remember something about this when I saw part of this with the Glide one. But I had a question, because some of our platforms give us the option of like posting, like even I think the stream to LinkedIn. Do you with Glide do any of that kind of stuff as well?
Yeah. So this when we're doing an event, I actually I had a really bad experience with our stream not working when we did our year-end event. So for Glide Next, I opted not to do it, but you can do the live stream through LinkedIn. So the way that you guys are simulcasting to YouTube, you can do that to LinkedIn as well. By doing this, if it's a workshop like this, if I click view event, it's going to give me this link to the actual page on our website. You're not getting dinged for that link. Okay. So that's an okay place to post a link that's using LinkedIn's own system. Yeah, I would go and create an event. So I would go to, like, if you go to your page and go to events, you can create an event, and then you can make the event a live event. And when you do that, when it comes time to actually go live, you'll be able to use the, like, whatever the RCTP, whatever the thing is called, the endpoint link. You just post that in your LinkedIn live dashboard for this event, and the event will go live here as well. Alternatively, you can just do it as a not a LinkedIn live, but an external event link, and then just like link to your event page or link to the YouTube or whatever. But this is the way to do that, to leverage LinkedIn's own kind of engine rather than trying to send people away from LinkedIn in a way that they don't want. Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you. That
Yeah.
will help us a lot.
Good. Yeah, and I'm in the No Code North Slack, so if there's any other questions or anything that come up at any time, I'm not trying to shut this down right now. If you guys have more questions now, I'm here for it. But if anything pops up later, hit me up in there. I'm always happy to help. Yeah.
It was. I'm thinking about starting to do some YouTube tutorial type workshops instead of just because the engagement from the Webflow, like I think we had like 450 members in Seattle, like over the 4.5 years I was doing it, we built it up to like 450. But most of them weren't local. So we'd host local events and 5 people would say they'd show up and then there'd just be 3 of us sitting there. So when we first started doing it back in 2019, we would get like 15, 20 people showing up for live events. And then the pandemic happened, but then I would get like 40 people sign up for virtual events. 15 or 20 would actually show up. So that's how we grew the group. But a lot of those people only ever showed up once or twice. There wasn't like a lot of repeat engagement. So yeah, I just don't want to put in that much effort into it and trying to drum up people to come on and hunt for people, find people on LinkedIn, get in their DMs and say, hey, I really like the content, why don't you show up? Because a lot of times they are like really excited and want to do it, and they're more than happy to, but a lot of times we just can't coordinate a time. It's like some of the people, like you're talking about Aviv earlier, he's over in the Netherlands. If I host something at 6 o'clock in the afternoon or in the evening here, like we generally do, I started doing afternoon earlier, like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But even then, that's in Europe or Australia. It's some weird time zone for them. So that I would get like people from Australia and South Africa signing up for my events, and I knew that they weren't going to show up just because it was going to be 2 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, I'm thinking about doing some YouTube shorts and things like that, just to spend my time on that rather than and then I can post those things on LinkedIn, because I had no idea about the vertical videos that Sepy was just talking about. So I can
I was just gonna say, if you're doing YouTube Shorts, you definitely repurpose those on LinkedIn, and they'll end up in like the little video scroller that they've got going on now. So yeah, that's a great way to ramp up. No, it's like this vertical, like if you film it on your phone, you get the vertical video. I think it's like 16:9 or whatever the ratio is. That like CapCut is one of them. I don't do it myself, honestly. I've shied away from it because like I'll talk about this stuff, but I really don't want to get on camera and film videos myself. I'm like, I have that trouble going from 0 to 1. I like doing the demos because I'm much more confident showing like how to use Glide while like doing something and talking about it versus just like a talking head video. So I need to jump that hurdle, and maybe I'll have a better answer for you when I use more editing tools. But CapCut's one that I have used, and it puts captions and it's got great effects and stuff. So it's a good it's a good one to use, or on your phone or on desktop.
So there's one that I've used with a friend a couple times too. It's called like Riverside. And
Riverside's
it's
amazing.
yeah, it's meant for like, it was designed for podcasting, but then you can have a video and like you can do basically this whole kind of setup. And what's
Yeah.
cool about it is it automatically transcribes when you're speaking, and then when you go to edit it later, you can edit it by the text. So you can be like, oh, like just copy this paragraph, and then it'll give you a segment that was like you speaking that paragraph, and then there's multiple people. You could be like, oh, export this for mobile, and it'll like give you that clip stacked, ready to go, like output for mobile kind of thing, which is super cool.
Totally. Descripts like that too. That's another good one for
Descripts
just
like that
editing
too.
by text. Yeah.
Very cool.
All right.
Yeah, I've seen
Cool.
Hal Zeitlin doing a lot of the because he's got his form connector tool. Plus, he talks about his agency as well. But he's been doing the iPhone, and I know he's talked about needing to learn how to edit them, but initially he wasn't. He was just live streaming while he was walking down the street or sitting in the office.
Some people even use TikTok, like they'll film it in TikTok and they won't post it on TikTok, but TikTok's editor is pretty decent too. And so you can like record it and then do some cool editing and put, animations or whatever they do on TikTok, and then export your video and post it elsewhere. So that's another kind of hack.
Ooh, that's a neat hack.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You make TikTok style videos that are never seeing the light of day on TikTok. So
Which is fine if you're not trying to reach a TikTok audience.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, are there? I don't have TikTok because I know it's a slippery slope, and I don't have any more time to spend on social media than I already spend on Blue Sky. So, are there other Webflow people that are using TikTok? Is anybody on TikTok here? That's
I'm not.
on down that road. Yeah, right. I think we're all
It's
being
like
wise.
the different generation, maybe. I don't know.
I think maybe that's what
Isn't
it is.
TikTok banned now, or is that just in the US?
Not
I don't
quite.
know. I was
I
reading
think
some news yesterday.
it's potentially going to be. I think it's
As of Sunday, apparently.
probably isn't going to happen. I think is
Yeah.
No,
I have a feeling they're going to turn it around. Yeah.
I thought the CEO already made an announcement yesterday. He was like, "All right, peace," and he was like, "We're done."
Well, I don't know. He's apparently going to be at the inauguration. So.
Oh, interesting. All right.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Let's head on out of here. So I just want to let everybody know that next week we're having a Northern Showcase, which is when we highlight Canadian talent working in either Webflow or no code. And our guest next week on Friday, January 24th, is going to be Kenneth Yu, who is a Webflow Premium Partner based in Toronto. And we're excited to get to know more about him because he doesn't come to our events all that often, because I think he's a really busy Webflow guy. And then on January 31st, Maggie will be hosting our next French Hangout, because of course here in Canada we actually have two languages, and from time to time we host one that's all entirely in French. And so that will be on Friday, January 31st. Sign up to our mailing list at nocodenorth.com to join our community, and we will see you sometime real soon. Bye.
Bye.